So welcome again to today's webinar, Tested Tools for the New Year. The webinar should last, as I said earlier, about 30 minutes. It's not a very long webinar, and you are welcome to ask questions during the presentation as I go. You can stop me and I'll answer as best I can, because some of the content today came from my colleagues. Some of that content I might not be familiar with, but I can bring the questions to them if I can't answer the questions. So this is our last webinar of 2017, and my colleagues and myself, as I was saying, have come together to highlight our favorite easy-to-use tools we've been using lately. My objective for today is to give you a brief overview of the tools and the reasons why we like them, and then make some suggestions as to how they could be used in your context. Of course, your suggestions and questions are welcome during the webinar. So today we'll have a look at Padlet, at Facebook Messenger, Priorit Tab, Google Keep, ProtoPage, and Snagit. Some of these tools have similar purpose, and others are very different. So because our plate is quite full in terms of variety, I'm not going to give details about how they work. I suggest that if you are interested by one or more of these tools, you send me an email and I can provide you with more information if you want more a step-by-step kind of information if you're not sure how to get them working. So I'm your presenter today. I've been with AlphaPlus for several years, working with mostly the Francophone community. I'm currently busy with our IT coaching service, helping programs with the IT challenges they face. So let's get started. So the first tool we're going to look at is Padlet. My colleague Tracy recommended it, and I strongly agree with her. Padlet lets you quickly add content to a wall. We call it a wall in Padlet. It's like a page. So you can make something like a bulletin board or a blog with Padlet. It can be used for various things. Tracy uses it as a warm-up in a couple of trainings she does. For the one shown on the screen, she uses a map as a background and asks people to post something about their best meal ever next to the place where they ate that meal. According to Tracy, it's a great way to get started using digital technology, because it's easy to use and people don't need to create an account or download anything to participate in Padlet. So that's really an advantage of this tool. The learner doesn't need to open an account. You can choose whether to display people's names on their posts, or whether if people can like a post or comment on a post. So you have a lot of possibility in terms of how much interactivity can happen on the wall. I've included a link to a webinar we did on Padlet a couple of years ago. It's still quite current. In case you'd like to learn more, you could watch the webinar. And today you'll get the slides after the webinar. Probably tomorrow I'll be sending the slides. So you'll have access to those links. You'll be able to click on them. I'm quite sure right now with GoToWebinar you see the link, but you can't click on it. But you'll have it on the slides, and you'll be able to click on the few links I have in the presentation. So as an instructor, you can create an account in order to save your Padlets. Then you go to the Activity tab. It's very simple, and you click on Make a Padlet. You choose from a set of wallpapers to get a background. You can also upload your own picture to make a background. And then your Padlet is pretty much created. There's various ways of displaying the information that you can choose from. Not too many options, just enough that it gives you some choices, but that you don't get lost in the too many choices. So it's very simple. If you don't add any tags to your Padlet, it won't be searchable. So it's a way to keep it private. So if you don't add any tags, it will be kept secret, but anyone with the link will be able to participate in your in your Padlet. So that's something to know. Padlet is free. There are paid accounts for education if you want to create a more private and a more controlled environment. I'm assuming it's probably good for school grade teachers who might want to keep things a little more secure. You can get a 30-day trial of the paid account to see if there's any advantage to it. And a teacher account is about $100 per year, which can get pricey if you're going to use it on an ongoing basis. So you might want to try to see if you can get by with the free version of Padlet. Are there any questions before we move on to the next tool? No? Okay, we'll keep going. Don't be shy to stop me if I know I tend to speak fast. So here's on the screen, you can see another example of Padlet used by a teacher. In this one, the learner is asked to post an answer to the question, how and why creative thinking is important in math. Padlet can be used for various things. It can be used to build a word wall to develop knowledge of new concepts. It can be used to create a classroom page in which you can list, you can have links with images of the local newspapers, online reference tools, inspirational quotes. You can all build that into your wall. It can either be passive, used to communicate information, or active if you use it to encourage learners to add comments or ideas of their own on the wall. So it has these two possibilities. I think that's all I have to say about Padlet. Still no questions? Okay, so we'll keep going. The next one that I'm going to talk about briefly is Facebook Messenger. It's something different that my colleague Monica suggested. It's the messaging app from Facebook. You might be familiar with it if you're a Facebook user. Monica has been using various messaging tools like Google Hangouts. She's been using Skype, and she has used another one that's called WhatsApp. She didn't think she would want to be using one more of these kinds of app, but since she uses Facebook on a regular basis, she has found it very convenient. It has made it possible for her to quickly keep in touch with family, with friends, and colleagues, no matter where people are in the world. With Facebook Messenger, you can send pictures and videos. You can also do video calls, and it's all done through your Facebook contacts. So if you've misplaced your family or friend's email address or phone number, you can quickly find them on your Facebook, in your Facebook contacts, and then use Messenger to communicate with them. That's what Monica finds really handy, is that everything is tied to her Facebook contacts, so she doesn't have to go around find people's numbers. In a training program, Messenger could be used to keep in touch with learners who have a Facebook account. It could be used to encourage learners to participate in the follow-up surveys that programs have to do. I've heard that some programs have tried that to connect with learners through Facebook when they need to do those follow-ups. It could also be used to send last-minute news reminders to partners in your network if you're having some kind of event or something that you've promoted. But if there are key people you want to make sure that are present or aware of what you're doing, it might be one way to just send them a quick note or a quick reminder that you're doing something. So we'll keep moving along to the next tool that Maria suggested. Maria suggested 3 different tools. So this is the first one. It's called Priorit AB. It's a Chrome extension that allows Maria to set priorities for the day, for the week, and the month. So when Priorit Tab is installed on your Chrome browser, every time you open a new tab, you see a similar content as you see on the screen now, and you're reminded about your to-do list. I've installed it and tried it too, and it's true. Every time you click a new tab, this comes up and reminds you of what you have, what your priorities are. So I know that France is probably a Chrome browser user because France uses Chromebooks. I don't know about you, Angela, if you're using Chrome as a web browser. So this would, it has to be installed on Chrome. It wouldn't work on another browser. So to add, you can add all kinds of extensions to Chrome, and to add an extension like Priorit Tab, it's fairly easy. All you have to do is to go to the Chrome Web Store and you search for Priorit Tab in this case. Once you found it, you can select it and simply click Add to Chrome. You don't need to be signed into anything. You don't need to spend any money. It's done. It's very easy. You can start using it right away once you installed it. And when you open a new tab, you'll see a page like the one I showed you on the previous slide. And then all you need to do is populate that page with your priorities. And every time you open a new tab, those priorities are there. The only thing, I've tested it a little bit. You can add priorities for the day, for the week, or the month. Let's say you want to plan a week. You can't have, let's say today's Tuesday, you don't have a possibility of having a Wednesday and a Thursday. Once Wednesday comes, you have to grab, like you drag and drop from your weekly priorities into your today's list. So that's how you have to manage it. You can't separate the days except for today. So that's a bit of a drawback, but it keeps things very simple. So in your program, you could, of course, use Priorit Tab to help you keep on top of the tasks that are a priority. You could also suggest it to learners to help them manage their tasks or their learning. It could be used within a specific project, maybe, where you would ask learners to divide the project in small portions of tasks and use Priorit Tab to manage everything that needs to be done, and to have Priorit Tab as a reminder to keep on the task. And of course, when we're using a browser, we do tend to do various things because it opens so many things on the web. So it's a good way to keep our attention to what we're there for. Of course, using it with learners in a classroom, it would require a bit of logistics, of adjustment, because you'd have to be using the Chrome browser on all your computer lab laptops, computers, and so on. So this is one thing to consider. And now we're going to move on to the next tool. If there's no question, it's good. Okay, I'll keep going. The next one is still a suggestion by Maria, and it's called Google Keep. It's another Chrome extension. Maria uses Google Keep when she wants to save a website to read later. It can also be used to save notes. When you use Google Keep, all you have to do is click the icon to save a bookmark. If you install the extension, it's very simple. To add Google Keep to Chrome, to your Chrome browser, you simply go through the same step as I just showed with Priorit Tab. You go to the Chrome Web Store, and once you install it, you have this icon that will be added to your toolbar. So you can see the icon on the screen. It's the little light bulb. And that's what you click to add. If you're on a web page and you want to keep, you just click on that, and that's added to your Google Keep. In order to use Keep, you'll have to be signed in to your Chrome account, which is different from a Google account. We have Google accounts if we have Gmail and use Google Docs, and we can use a Chrome browser without an account. So we can just use Chrome plainly. But if you start adding extension like Keep, you can sign in to Chrome. And what that does is that Chrome will, every time you sign in, will bring with you, like wherever you are, the content of the extension. So in this case, if you've saved bookmarks into Keep, you have to be signed in. But if you switch computers and you sign into Chrome to that different computer, let's say you're at home, you'll have all your bookmarks available. So that's why you have to have a Chrome account with this extension. I hope that's clear. You can post a question if that's not quite clear. So to go back to the Google account, which we have if we use Gmail or Google Docs, Keep is one of the apps, if you have a Google account, that you have access to. And I'll switch to the next slide, you'll see. Sorry, I think the connection is not... Okay, sorry, I'm just going to move back. We went a bit too far. Okay, so if you have a Google account, you are used to using Gmail, maybe Photos, maybe Google Docs, Google Sheets, and so on. So Keep is one of the apps that's available if you have a Google account. The advantage, what I've just showed you, is installing the extension. So the advantage with installing the extension on your Chrome browser is that you can proceed to adding new bookmarks quickly. You can just, you don't have to interrupt your workflow. You can just click the little bulb and have it added to your Google Keep application. But you could still use it without having not a Chrome account, but without adding the extension, if you use Google Keep as an application. And this is how it looks like. Excuse me. So this is how the interface of Google Keep looks like if you use it from the Google apps. You can add notes, add reminders, add bookmarks. You can add labels. It's really like a bookmarking, note-taking site with all the features. I'm sorry. I'm just going to mute myself for a second. I'm sorry, my voice is going a little bit. I hope it's going to be okay. So Keep can also be used to record voice notes, transcribe notes from a picture. So it does optical character recognition. That means if, let's say you would write on a board some things that you want to keep and you want to share with the learners, you can take a picture of that board with the writing on it, and you could upload that, save it to Google Keep. And then Google Keep will, I don't know how good it will, the result will be, but it would translate the picture into the words, and you could share that to with learners or wherever you want to, if you want to keep the notes you have on the board in the written document. That's a possibility. I haven't tested it myself. It's something to be looked into, but apparently it can do that. You can also use the notes you have saved in Keep to drag and drop them onto Google Docs. So it's really integrated in the Google suite of applications. So you can go and grab what's in Keep and bring it into Google Docs. The notes can be color-coded. You can add keywords or labels, I think they call them, to improve the organization and the retrieval of what you have saved. Over time, it can build quite a bit. So in your context, Keep could be used to take screenshots of class notes, as I was saying. It's easy enough to use that students might want to try using it to organize their bookmarks and notes. It's possible to set reminders for the notes created in Keep. And when you set a reminder with a date, it will synchronize with your Google Calendar. So if you're a Google Calendar user, it will automatically appear in your calendar, and the calendar will refer back to the note created in Keep. So this can be a good way to keep on top of things that need to be done. Okay, so now one last suggestion from Maria, which is ProtoPage. ProtoPage is a start page that you can customize with information you want to access quickly. Maria uses it to build her own homepage. She adds feeds from blogs that she likes and sites that she's interested in. This is actually her start page, so you can see what feeds she has. So every time that new information is added to those various sites, it comes up here, so she can keep on top of the new information added to various sites that she's interested in. She also uses it to add bookmarks. It's one of the little, they call them widgets. It's a little box you can add to your start page, and one of those box you can add is a bookmark box. So in order to use ProtoPage, you have to access the website and register. It's free. I forgot to mention that ProtoPage is France is only available in English. The interface you see is only available in English. Those Chrome applications, extensions that we just spoke about, Priorit AB. Let me just go back. I just want to make sure I give you that information. Google Keep, of course, because it's an application from Google, is in both languages. Priorit AB, unfortunately, I've played with my Chrome browser and made sure it was in French, but Priorit AB always brings itself in English. You can only see the days of the week in English. That's the one where you have the priorities for the day, the week, and the month. That's only English. And this one also is only in English. So I was saying that you have to register. It's free. It's very easy because you just drag and drop the piece that you want on the page. You can choose a background, whether you want to keep it private or you want to make it public. You can set ProtoPage as your home page. So when you open your browser, this is what you have. And then every time you open your a new tab, you have your go-to resources that you want to be using. It can have its good and its bad because it could be a distraction in some cases. If you see new information that has come up and you really want to read it now, it might drag you away from something else. So yours to decide. So in your program, you could use ProtoPage to build a class page with information that learners can access quickly. Could be a good place to put reference tools or various sites that are interesting to learners. It's a little bit like Padlet in the sense that you gather pieces and display them on a page. Padlet was the one we first looked at that Tracy really liked. It doesn't offer the same interactivity as Padlet, though. You wouldn't be able to ask a learner to contribute to the page. It's really something that you put together and you display. It could be used with learners, however, to build a page with information they want to access quickly, as I was saying. You could add, I don't know, the weather, the local weather, the local news sites, employment sites, whatever is interesting to them. It might be a way for them to keep things together, depending if in this case, you need to have an account, so it's one more account. So sometimes for a learner, that's too many things. So you might have other suggestions as to how to use this one. So if there are no questions about ProtoPage, I'll keep going. Good, okay. Okay, and the last tool for today, that we want to recommend is one that I use very often. It's yeah, I use it almost on a daily basis. I use this application. It's different from what we've been talking about. It's called Snagit. It's a screenshot capture program that lets you take a picture of your screen or a portion of it. You can also capture a scrolling screen. That means that if you have a long web page that you can't see on your computer screen, you have to scroll down to see it all. There's a feature in Snagit to capture the whole page as an image. What else you can do? You can take portions of the screen as well. I think I mentioned that. So Snagit is very easy to use. That's what I find. It can also be used. You can use it quickly. You can bring it up quickly to do a video and audio recording of your screen. So if you would like to walk someone through some steps, give audiovisual feedback, or record a live stream video, you could use Snagit. Yes, France, I see your question. No, it's not in both languages. I've double-checked today. TechSmith has a partial bilingual site. That's the company that makes it. But as soon as you get into the tutorials, the help information, it's in English. My app, the one that I have installed, is in English, and I don't think I had the option of installing a French one. So no, it's not in both languages. And another thing you might want to know, as far as I can tell, it's only for Windows and Mac. I don't think there's any app that exists to install on a Chromebook. Just so that you're aware of that. Unfortunately, because it's a good little tool to have. So I mostly use this program to take screenshots like the one you can see on the screen. Once you have taken a capture, the screenshot you've just taken opens up in the Snagit editor. What you see on the screen is the editor, and in the middle of it is the screenshot I took. There in the editor, you can add arrows, shapes, callouts. Most of the time, I use it when people need help in understanding the steps to do something with a piece of software or a tool. So I create a visual explanation by numbering the steps on the image, adding arrows to point to specific areas, or using shapes to highlight part of the screenshot. Once I'm done with an image, I can copy and paste it in an email. That's what I do most of the time. If someone needs help with something, I'll just paste in an email, and people can open the email, view the image, and understand the explanation. I also sometimes paste it in a Word, so I can just copy and paste it in a Word file, and then I can create a longer explanation with several images if it's something that's a little more complicated. Images in Snagit can also be added to a site called screencast.com, which is provided by the company that makes Snagit. So for example, if you make a short video capture, you can upload it to the site, and then you can send the link to the video to whoever you want to be able to watch the video. So it's sort of a cloud. It's something where you go and transfer your video, and people can go and access it with a link. From within the editor, the image or the video can also be sent to Google Drive, to Dropbox, or to YouTube. It's all accessible through the share button. You can also send an image or a video to Facebook or Twitter. Snagit recognizes the formats required by these social media because they have requirements, the size of the image, the type of format of the video. So it's all in Snagit. So you can just say, I want to share this with my Facebook account. You enter your login information to your Facebook account, and the image will be ready to go. So it can be a quick way to handle your social media visual communications using Snagit. So you can create an image using, I don't know, some people like to use Publisher or various tools, and then you can go and grab it with Snagit and then share it. In your program, you could use Snagit to create visual explanations for learners to make documents more visually appealing. We apparently learn much better from an image than from text, so it might be an opportunity to include more images, relevant images. You could use it to record portions of a video. If, for example, for some reason you won't have access to YouTube, for example, you're in an environment where YouTube is not accessible or the internet is not accessible, you could make a video recording of a YouTube video and keep it, save it on your computer. And I've tested it, it actually works. I went on YouTube and I found some cartoon and I just recorded portions of the cartoon I was seeing and then watched it afterwards with my recording that I did with Snagit, and it works. So it could be a way of bypassing some limitations that we have once in a while. Snagit is not free. Its license costs about $60 Canadian. This is not an annual fee, like I was mentioning. Padlet had a fee for educators for education. This one is a one-time fee. You buy the software the good old way. You buy the software, you install it, and you have the license on your computer for as long as it can work. So it's expensive, but if you over time, I think I'm using the second version of Snagit that I have installed on my computer. I've been using for several years, so it's worth it. Snagit has a little brother. We call it a little brother, made by the same company. The software is called Jing, J-I-N-G. You might have heard of it. It lets you do screen capture, but it doesn't have the same extended features for editing. Quite sure it's free. When I tried it about a year ago, it was free. I didn't find it could do enough for what I needed, but if you would like to try a simple screen capturing software, it might be worth trying before spending on Snagit, because it's free. You can just give it a try. I remember feeling a little frustrated with the saving of the images. I think I couldn't save on my computer. It had to be on screencast.com. You had to have an account with screencast.com. It was something like that, but it could have changed, so I can't say that for sure. It would have to be tried. So are there any questions? And I think I mentioned, yes, we were speaking about Snagit. It's not available the interface is not in French, unfortunately. Any questions about this tool or the others we've seen so far? I know I went a little fast. I was trying to catch up the time that unfortunately we lost at the beginning. So if it's okay, you'll see my screen moving around a little bit. I will give you the link to the evaluation for the webinar. So I'm sorry if you see your screen moving around. So I'll put that in the chat box. So this is the link. You let me know if you can't access it. If you can't right now, I'll be able to email it to you. So you can use this evaluation to make suggestions, comments about this webinar, and requests for upcoming webinars. If there's ideas you have that you'd like see webinars on. And also I'll leave you with my email, because some of those tools we saw today, it was quite fast, and you might have questions that you'd like to ask. So please don't be shy to send me an email. It will be my pleasure to answer your question. You're welcome, France. My pleasure. Ça me fait plaisir. And don't be shy if you have questions on any of those. And thank you for your patience at the beginning too.